sheriff's deputies as well as Charlottesville police over effect and military leaders, although they're not directly involved, have to be on their guard to prevent that from happening and poisoning the atmosphere in their units.
Now, sir, you've seen protests and difficult situations all over the world. In a situation like this, where we saw some violence last night, we knew there were going to be some 6,000 white supremacists and counter-protesters there today. Do you think law enforcement should have done more to prepare for this, or at least set up a barrier between the two groups?
Well, I think a barrier is always important. I've watched protests in places as far away as Bolivia and parts of Asia. Seen how people actually create environments where there are some really difficult situations. And one of the key things that law enforcement agencies have, which is very similar to the military, is an intelligence apparatus. They can use that intelligence apparatus to anticipate things. I think barriers between different protest groups are always important. Most law enforcement officials, I think, would agree with that. Part of it is also, of course, where do you have the resources, and it becomes incumbent upon local officials and state officials to make sure that they have adequate resources to contain protests like this. Everybody has a right to protest, but the key thing is that it has to be peaceful, and property damage and damage to people in terms of injuries and, God forbid, deaths, that has to be prevented, and that's the primary job